One bright blaze turns learning into air. The Lost Library of Alexandria, circa 300 BCE. In context, location Egypt, circa 331 BCE. Alexander the Great founds Alexandria in Egypt, circa 307 BCE. Former governor of Athens, Demetrius of Phalerum, takes refuge in Alexander after being overthrown. 305 BCE. Ptolemy I Soter, a general, succeeds Alexander the Great as Egypt's ruler, founding Egypt's final dynasty. After 240 BCE, Callimachus completes a catalog of the contents of the Great Library. 639 CE, the Rashidun Caliphate invades Egypt, paving the way for the Islamic unification of North Africa. 1517, the Ottoman Sultan Selim I defeats the Mamluks, rulers of Egypt since 1250, making his empire one of the most powerful in the world. In circa 300 BCE, the ruler of Egypt, Ptolemy I Soter, set out to create a library that would house a copy of every book in the world. The resulting Great Library of Alexandria is said to have held up to 1 million papyrus scrolls. Inspired by one of his advisors, Demetrius of Phalerum, Soter built a central center to contain scrolls called the Mountain, or Museum. The center and its collections were expanded by Soter's son Ptolemy II Philadelphus, who also created the Royal Library on the same campus. All scrolls brought to and written in Alexandria were housed here, and the collection soon grew so large that a satellite library, the Serapeum, was built on the site of the Temple of Serapis. Together, the Museum, Royal Library, and Serapeum made up the Great Library of Alexandria. The library burns. Nothing of the library remains, and the lack of archaeological evidence has led to various myths about its demise. In truth, there was no one bright blaze, but Roman general Julius Caesar is thought to first to cause damage. In circa 48 BCE, while visiting Alexandria, he backed Egypt's queen in the civil war between Cleopatra and her mother and co-ruler Ptolemy VIII. Ptolemy, whose ships were moored in the harbor, besieged him in the royal palace. Outnumbered, Caesar ordered his soldiers to set the ships on fire. The fire spread to the docks, then to other parts of the city. Even so, sources speak of the destruction of scrolls, not of a library, suggesting that Caesar's fire destroyed only part of the library's collections. The library burned again in 391 CE at the hands of the Bishop of Alexandria, Theophilus. After Roman Emperor Theodosius I sanctioned the destruction of pagan temples in the city, Theophilus led a mob of Christians to demolish the Serapeum. He then ordered a church to be built on its ruins. It is unclear whether the Royal Library and the Museum survived beyond the 4th century CE. After capturing Alexandria in 640 CE, Muslim general Amr ibn al-As allegedly asked Caliph Omar what should be done with the library's vast collections. Bar Hebraeus Omar they will either contradict the Quran, in which case they are heresy, or they will agree with it, so they are superfluous. Amr then used the scrolls as fuel for the stoves in the city's bathhouses. In reality, the library suffered a gradual decline. As fragile scrolls disintegrated and were not replaced, nor new ones acquired, scholars lost interest. But its reputation endured, and the idea of collating knowledge lives on in modern libraries. The murder of Hypatia. In 415 CE, the philosopher Hypatia was ambushed and murdered in Alexandria by a mob of Christians. Her death marked the end of a so-called pagan tradition in the city which embraced intellectual pursuits including astronomy, science, and philosophy. The library itself was dedicated to pagan deities. Little is known about Hypatia's early life. Her father, Theon, a mathematician, astronomer, and philosopher, was the museum's director. She received a solid education in the arts and sciences and went on to serve as head of a philosophy school sometime between 395 and 408 CE. A talented and charismatic teacher, Hypatia was also very close to Orestes, Alexander's Roman governor. But Orestes was engaged in a bitter feud with Cyril, the city's bishop, who consistently subverted his authority. Rumors spread among Alexandria's Christian community that Hypatia, a pagan, was preventing Orestes and Cyril from reconciling. Most scholars blame Cyril for her death, as he could have called off the mob.